Welcome everyone to the North Leeds Jitz podcast. Today we are really lucky to be joined by Professor Sébastien Garnier from Gracie Barra, Marseille in France. We've got a lot to talk to him about. He has to go teach a class in about an hour or so, we've stolen a little bit of his time, and we're going to hear a lot of cool stories, I hope. Professor, I wanted to start off by relaying a thank you message from one of my good friends and Mike's good friends, Jim Munton, who you probably won't remember, but he was a 2-stripe white belt at the time and training at Gracie Barra Harrogate, as was I, and Mike was teaching there as well. And he was visiting Marseille to brush up on his French. And he, obviously being like a 2-stripe white belt, didn't know much about Gracie Barra at the time, has only been training a little bit. And he, Professor Lewis Matthews at Gracie Barra Harrogate said, "Oh, you're going to go train at GB Marseille." And he hadn't even thought about that was possible. Like for him, jiu-jitsu was a little nugget in Harrogate, and that was it. And by all accounts, he's told me the story a couple of times now. When he got to Marseille, he landed there first day, went to go see you guys, and was welcomed like a family member. You gave him like a little clap at the start of the class, and everyone was super friendly to him. And that I spoke to him on the phone really recently about it. And he said like it opened up his mind to what jiu-jitsu was about, a community, and especially Gracie Barra. And that kind of leads on to probably what I want to talk about first. Is that community aspect for Gracie Barra like something important to you? Is that, it sounds like it was, like, is that a big part of Gracie Barra for you?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you all, thank you guys for inviting me to join here. I'm really always pleased to share, the Gracie Barra experience. And I remember really well Jim coming here in the gym. And this is the welcoming we always do for family members, people training around the world. And I remember, welcoming him on the mats, and telling him that, this place is like his place, it's like home, because that's the way I feel. Wherever I go train, I feel really welcome in the Gracie Barra environment. And for me, every student that's coming in my academy, it doesn't matter the belt, from white to black belt, I try to be the ambassador of Gracie Barra, trying to share what's the real Gracie Barra experience. And as you said, and as you mentioned, a lot of white belt or blue belt, sometimes they don't have the clear picture of what Gracie Barra means. They start just training jiu-jitsu, and they have their own experience on the mat. It's sometimes something it's a relief for the stress, and they start enjoying the feeling of being on the mat, sharing experience, sharing techniques, but they don't have the whole picture of Gracie Barra or what it is around the world. And I think, and this is something that I can identify in all the students. Whenever you go on another academy, another country, and you share this, this Gracie Barra experience, you're like, man, this is like something I know, right? It's like home. And at this particular time, you start realizing how Gracie Barra is and how organized it is, how about the family spirit, how about everything was created. And I think from this point, you start wondering, how this has been created, and you start realizing that it's something that goes real beyond the frontier of my own academy, my own city, my own country, my own continent. It's something that's spread all around the world. And going back to your question, I think the community is what's made Gracie Barra what it is right now. Without this sense of community, we would be a random Gracie Barra school. What I'm trying to mean by that is it is really, really hard to create a project, right? Start a project, and then see that your project is successful and eventually spread out around the world. Keeping the same energy, keeping the same, in Portuguese we say água da fonte. It's like it's the pure water, right? The fountain. Keeping this feeling, right? It's really a strong exercise. And without this sense of community, without this sense of sharing the pure values of Gracie Barra, this is something that wouldn't happen. like we wouldn't be here actually, because there is something. Why are you inviting me to join this live talk? Because of this sense of community, because somehow we defend a shield values that are equals in UK, in France, Brazil, wherever in the world. That is the strongest bond ever. That makes it goes beyond the techniques. It's something it's our family. It's like you're my cousin, Tim is my cousin, Jim is my cousin, and we are. This sense of community is really, really strong. And this is something I try to pass to my students. I think it's more important that we create a strong environment where we can rely on every single member of our community. Like, for example, I need some service. I know that I have someone in my community, Gracie Bar, that is able to help me. I know that someone is able to make me grow. I know that someone is willing to share his experience. And whenever you are in this, in this mindset, you feel really secure training in this environment. And also this is something that gives you a lot of positive energy. That's one of the reasons why you come back to the academy. It's not because you are trying to do a flying armbar, because eventually you will succeed to do a flying armbar. But that feeling that connects with all the students on the mat, this is something stronger than a flying armbar. Because when you're 60 years old, man, there's no more flying armbar. But there is this strong feeling like, man, I want to, man, the body is stiff from the day before, everything hurts, but somehow you want to go back to the academy because of this connection you have on, we all know this feeling that when you're on the mats, hey, what's up? This energy is so good. And I think this is community. This is the why we are here, because you are trying to spread our values inside our community, and we want our community to spread. And that's the dream of Master Carlos Gracie Jr. That became our dream, as professors, instructors, and head coach, and all the members that are following this path of spreading Gracie Bar and spreading Jiu-Jitsu for everyone.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because we're a brand new school essentially. None of our members have really met each other in person. It's all been online and things like that. And even already in like our team members WhatsApp group, you'll get people, I need a tradesman. I need like someone doing it
to move house.
Yeah.
Does anyone know anyone who? I think the point, I want to pick up a couple of points there, Professor, because you're absolutely right. I think we all benefit from this amazing community around the world, and we know that, like Jim or like your students, when they go traveling on holiday, wherever studying, they can walk into a Gracie Barra school and feel at home. That's we all benefit from that. But we all also have a responsibility to ensure that's maintained, right? And when we all start to kind of believe in this and play our part, then it just grows. And already, our members, they're already sharing their jiu-jitsu. They've never even trained together, but they're telling their families. They're already positively kind of enthused by it, and they're sharing it even more. And I think once we all play our part, then that's when the magic really happens, right?
That's true. There is one thing that I was, I had the chance, to have a professor that were really strongly connected to Master Carlos Gracie Jr., and there's something that I somehow the legacy allows me, and gave me the chance, right, to spread this message, right? And the one message that I was spreading yesterday was about ego. And ego is actually the representations one can have about himself, right? So it can be good. You need to have ego, because otherwise you'll be, you will have a really strong lack of confidence. But you cannot have a strong ego, like really high ego. Otherwise you will be only focused on yourself, and you will not be able to grow as a man. And whenever you regulate your ego, and whenever you start focusing on other, right? And that's actually when you're professor and instructor, you're more focusing on helping all the students to grow. And your ego is also like, you're not focusing on yourself anymore, right? When I wake up, I don't think I obviously I train every day strong. I like to train hard. The ones who train with me knows, but I'm more focusing on, man, how can I help students to grow? How can I help to strengthen the community of Gracie Barra in Marseille? How can I help to spread jiu-jitsu in France, right? And maybe you don't know, I also work in the association as the project director. And my every day, my focus is about creating a stronger Gracie Barra community all around Europe, all around the world. This is my mission. So this is something that I'm sure that, and as Master Carlos Gracie Jr. say, that if every person on earth would train jiu-jitsu, it would be a better place. And I strongly believe that. And this is I think why our community is so strong, because we created our community on really strong and noble values. This is like we always promote positive values, and that's the why our community is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because it's all about positive attitudes. Is helping each other, cooperation, brotherhood, integrity, development. So I think that's the why our community is really strong. And Master Carlos Gracie Jr. always say, this is only the beginning. But Master, we have 100 schools. This is the beginning. Master Carlos, we have 300 schools now. This is the beginning. And we have 500 now. This is the beginning. We almost reached 1,000. And he will always say that's the only beginning. And he's right. I would like to see this community in 50 years, 100 years. It will be really nice.
Professor, were you introduced to martial arts at a young age? Did you grow up in Marseille?
I started martial arts really, really young. I was 8 years old, and I did so many martial arts. Like I did Aikido, a lot of boxing, a lot of Muay Thai, boxing. I did Kung Fu for 6 years. And eventually, I grew up here in France until I was 19. And then I studied abroad in Spain when I got my master's degrees in finance. And I moved to UK. I lived in London for almost 2 years. I lived in Spain for 2 years, then in Senegal. And then eventually I moved to Angola, like in 2007 or 2008. And that's where I started jiu-jitsu with the professor Helio Pereira. And then back then, jiu-jitsu, we were Gracie Barra, but it was not the Gracie Barra we know, here. First, because Angola is really a remote country. So it was really hard to stay connected with all other schools, like in UK or like in the US, where at that time we had Roger Gracie, Brother Steamer. And so the growth of Gracie Barra was really, really strong. In Angola, it's a remote country. I remember the only contact we had with the Gracie Barra was when we used to go to the Worlds, the European. The only, otherwise was we are trying to catch, the Gracie Barra idea. And then eventually, thanks to the ICP, the certification for professors, we started to understand better the why of Gracie Barra, all the concepts, all the methodology, right? And then I always continued to train. I taught a lot of classes in the academy while I was working on also. And then I had this dream of leading from jiu-jitsu. I remember from blue belts, and I remember me being on the beach with my professor and was like, Professor, I will be a black belt and I will open my own academy. And then when I was brown belt, I decided I thought it was the time, to move back to Europe. And before I opened my academy in France, I was to open my academy in Portugal, right? My wife is from Portugal, and I had this conversation. I called Professor Vitor, and I said, Vital, I want to open my academy in Europe. Where should I go? And I remember, and I told him, yeah, I would like to go to Portugal. He said, yeah, Portugal is fine. Gracie Barra is already present there and so on. And I said, but I think it would be a good one to open in France. And I remember him being really skeptical about the idea of creating Gracie Barra in France, because, in France, it's all really a non-profit organization, right? So there is this idea that you cannot live from jiu-jitsu, and a lot of professors actually tried to open a Gracie Barra in France, and it was really hard to live from jiu-jitsu. So it was really a tough one for me. So, but I decided, man, let's do this. Let's try to show the world we can. If it works in the UK, it works in Japan, it works everywhere in the world. Should work in France, one of top country in Europe, in the world. So I eventually moved back in 2016, and I opened my academy. And after 3 months, we had 130 students. So it was, we did one thing. We did everything right. That's the thing. I think that was the key of the success. I did not invent anything. I always try to upgrade and apply 100%. Because I strongly believe right now that if you do 90%, 99% right, it's like doing 100% wrong. So just do 100% right. And then we did that, and it was like, whoom, exploding, like a lot of kids. And then after 2 years, we had more than 200 students, right? Before the pandemic, almost 300 students. So it was really a successful project that gave me confidence about what we have into our hands, the methodology of Gracie Barra. It really helps all the professors to live from their passion and keep preserving the legacy alive.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot to unpack there that I wanted to ask you about. But firstly, what was it that actually brought you to Angola? Like you say, it's a remote country.
I was in London, right? I love you guys. I live UK, but the weather was killing me, and I was here for more almost a year and a half, right? I was working in managing a restaurant there. And I was like, man, every day waking up now, because where I live in France, is one of the sunniest place in Europe. We have it's a really, really sunny place. So somehow it really affected me, to wake up every day with this, the rhythm of London that's really special, right? And this atmosphere. And I was like, man, I cannot afford it anymore. I want to move back to France. And I went back to France. And one friend of mine told me, man, he was in Ivory Coast. And my company is recruiting for Africa, South Africa. You should go. I was like, man, South Africa should be really good, right? It's a nice country. You can surf and so on. I was like, let's do this. I went to the recruitment, and the guy told me, yes, man, you have a great resume, right? This is good. Yeah, we're going to hire you. But there is no place anymore in South Africa, only Angola. I was like, what? And in my mind, Angola was like, a civil war, for almost 30 years of civil war. And I was like, man, I don't know where I'm going to step in, right? But I was like, let's do this. And I went there. And I remember before I go there, the first thing I was trying to connect is to a martial arts school, right? And especially jiu-jitsu, because I wanted to start jiu-jitsu since I was 15, but in France it was really hard to train. And I found this Gracie Barra, then I immediately connected to the Gracie Barra. But that's the reason why, actually. So right. I was meant to stay only 2 years. And then they extended my contract, and then I got married, and then it was over. I got kids, and then 10 years later, we both decided to move back to Europe.
And I appreciate it was a long time ago now, but do you remember kind of what your first like experience with jiu-jitsu was? You know, I appreciate you've had like other martial art experience as well. It's often quite a contrast, isn't it?
I remember my first day, like if it was today, right? Yesterday. I remember I called Gracie Barra. It was really hot. Like it was, in Angola, it's always hot. And it was like the summer, it was really hot. It was in April, 1st of April. And I went to the academy, and I remember my professor welcoming me, like, hey, welcome to Gracie Barra. It was not, there is no, almost few people were wearing the Gracie Barra gi. Because as I said, it was not that organized at that time. It was a time actually when a lot of schools had their own upgraded logo, so it was the Angolan version of Gracie Barra. But I remember that he was really welcoming. He gave me a gi to train. And I remember like it was really tough training. It was a competition training. And I mean, all those Angolan beasts, I was like, man, I'm trying to give my best. It was so hot. I was like drinking so much water. And I remember at the end of the class, I was like me in the shower, almost dying. And I was like, man, this is really tough. I want to sign up. And then that's how it started, right? Then it was really hard at that time to get a kimono. Actually, we only got kimono when someone would travel to the world, and he would bring back some kimono and rajguard. And my professor just saw me one gi, and then I was training every day. Every day I had one gi. I had no washing machine, so I used to clean my gi in hand wash. My hand it was not like the hand I had was not from training. It was only from cleaning my gi. And it was really tough. Like in Angola, sometimes you can stay for, during 1 week without water. So I had to go to neighbors to ask, please, I just need water, not to drink, just to wash my gi. Sometimes I would just ask water to wash my gi, and I would go train. I was going there every day, training every day. So that's how it started. Like when in Portuguese we say it's treino selva. It's like it is tough training. That's how I started jiu-jitsu. tough.
And your professor Elio is under Roger Gracie, right?
Yeah, that's true. He's Roger Gracie, and this one was really I have really strong memories of the connection we had with Roger. I still have a strong connection with him because he's the professor of my professor. And actually, when I went to my first European as a white belt, we went to UK, in London, at Roger's place. We would stay there with my professor. So it was really a strong experience. I only realized, few years later that, man, Roger was the biggest, on earth. So it was like you play football and you sleep at Messi's place. You see, so it was really, really a strong bond. I remember him sharing a lot of about the Gracie family, how he grew up, and I think he gave me a lot of inspiration to keep training, right? Because his style, his way of being, the way he's calm, the way he grew as an athlete, as a man through jiu-jitsu was really inspiring. Actually, it inspired me a lot. And my professor, he when he was in London, actually, as a purple belt and brown belt, he was sleeping with they were staying in the same place with Rogers, like for 3 years. Roger was Luciano, Roger's cousin. So he always, talked a lot about the experience of jiu-jitsu with the Roger, with Maurice, Roger's father, and Carlinhos. So it was I always had since the beginning really the privilege to understand, because sometimes it's really hard when you train jiu-jitsu to be connected with somehow with some Gracies, with the family from where it all started. But I had this privilege since I was white belt, so it is something I share now with my my students.
Amazing. And just before we move on from like the Angola part of your journey, tell me a little bit about what the kind of Gracie Barra Angola community was like. Were you all quite tight? Like, did you go out and have social events? Was it similar to like Gracie Barras are now? Or
now the connection, because you need to understand that the value we spread through our academy, all around the world, must be connected with the social environment where your place is located. So, for example, in Angola, the nature of the people is that they are already really connected, right? Like, because you need to understand a lot of people, they went through civil war for so many years that they reached a point that there was no rich people. Like when the war was going on, everything was sharing the same environment of fear and somehow. So the people are really connected. So the social environment is already a friendly environment where, we used to hang out a lot on people's place. We go on the beach and then on islands all together. So I remember it was since the beginning, a really strong connection with all my peers inside and outside the academy. When we used to go to Abu Dhabi trial, we would go all like massive. Like Angola is, you need to know that is maybe the biggest African country in terms of jiu-jitsu. So wherever they go for a competition in Middle East and Africa, they are like feared because they beat everyone. The jiu-jitsu is really strong because my professor is under Roger Gracie. Another professor is Sergio is under Lagarto. So that there was the level of jiu-jitsu is coming from really high standard professors and athletes. So the level they kept this way of training. So the level in Angola is really strong. So wherever they go, like in Abu Dhabi and so on, they are known to be really to stick together. And actually, when they go, like in a tournament or Abu Dhabi trial, it doesn't matter if you are Roger Gracie Barra, whatever. They are all from Angola. Like they will gather all the Angolan, doing some voodoo to win.
Professor, you mentioned Sergio there. Did Sergio used to be in the UK as well? Is it the same guy, no, Lucio Sergio? Different guy.
No, it's not Lucio Sergio. It's Sergio Vieira. It's another professor.
Okay. Yeah, I used to train with him when I first started jiu-jitsu. He used to come over from Manchester to Leeds before there was a Gracie Barra here, and used to teach some seminars. He was a cool guy.
I know, a really nice guy. I know him. Like since I'm a white belt, I know him. He was a really close friend of my professor.
Ah, sweet.
But Gracie Barra Angola sounds amazing, and I'd love to go visit one day. sounds very tough, but sounds like it'd be an amazing experience.
Now I would say that obviously, I mean, fortunately, the fact that we migrated, to the Gracie Barra methodology, the chance we have now to offer a jiu-jitsu for everyone environment changed a little bit the way we train, because at that time there was no fundamentals and so on. It was only porrada, training hard. Now we have, GB1, so you can share the same experience that would share in you would have in a other Gracie Barra school. So, you know, it's you have tough training, but you have fundamental, you have all the training. We have a lot of kids there because at that time the two schools they had almost 500 students, so it was really big schools, like two big schools.
Do you feel jiu-jitsu has lost anything from those days where it would just be like go and train really hard? Like I didn't experience it, but
I did. Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's different now. I think there's really positives, obviously, of how it's developed and it's opened up to many more people. But certainly when I started jiu-jitsu, it was almost felt a little bit like a secret, like a little secret club. And, you know, you had really strong bonds, but with only a few people, right?
I think that's my personal point of view, is if you go back then in the 90s, right? The image of jiu-jitsu was not that popular as it is right now, right? There were known to be fighters in the streets and so on. So somehow the fact that it's smoothened a little bit helped the promotion of jiu-jitsu. And also it helped welcoming other type of public inside the academy, like women, like kids, because the kids, there were not that strong program in the academies for kids and women, right? Hold on one sec, guys. I'm just gonna.
No problem.
Yeah, certainly when I started, there was no kids in the academies, right? Like it was just guys, and it was as the Professor Sébastien said, it was just hard training. That's what it was. You would show the technique at the start of the class, and then you would literally just spar for the rest of the class. And I think, you know, reflecting on that, of course, it was nice at the time. That's all we knew, tough training. But like Professor Sébastien said, you know, the fact it's broadened out a bit now and we get so many different people into the academy can only be a positive thing.
Yeah, that's what I believe helped the promotion of jiu-jitsu, right? Because if jiu-jitsu would have kept the same like tough spirit in training, most probably we wouldn't have any jiu-jitsu for everyone's schools. It won't be jiu-jitsu for few, right? It will be tough trained for sure, but I don't think it will be that popular because the way I see here, I see it right now as a professor, as a school owner, right? And like if you take from 100% of your students, like you don't have 100% of athletes. You don't have 100% of fighters. So you would exclude all the, you know, actually athletes represent really a small part right now of your school audience, right? You would exclude women, the kids, because the kids, it's hard to create a strong kids environment if you only focused on competition, right? Because we all know that the percentage of kids that are willing to compete, you know, strong, it's really little. So somehow I believe that this was a natural development of this sport, right? This martial art, and the fact also that it became more professional, right? To create now a little bit more standardized academy helped also for the promotion of jiu-jitsu. And I think this is good because right now you can have people living from jiu-jitsu. It was not the case. Like 20 years ago, people wouldn't live from jiu-jitsu. They would just compete for the love of the heart. But living from jiu-jitsu was really, really hard. Only few people would live from jiu-jitsu. Like the people that would live from jiu-jitsu were the people that knew jiu-jitsu, you know, like Irmão Valente, Gracie Academy, but otherwise would be really hard. So now you can have so many professors living from jiu-jitsu. We have now in the UK almost 83 or 84 academy with professors living from jiu-jitsu. So I think this is good, right? Because without that, we wouldn't have people living from jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of making the living from jiu-jitsu professor, you mentioned earlier that it was kind of seen as something really hard to do in France because of, I guess, the French people aren't so used to paying more money for a jiu-jitsu academy as they would for like judo, because judo is subsidized by the government and things like that. Tell me a little bit about that journey, about opening up Gracie Barra Marseille. Like, how was the journey for that?
I had it in mind when I wanted to open my academy. I had this idea that if I wanted to live from jiu-jitsu, I would have to do something different that other people are not doing. And doing something different that other people are not doing is just creating a Gracie Barra school. Because a lot of people have a jiu-jitsu school, but they are not opening their school every day. We do. A lot of people, they only focus on competition. We don't. Like, we have competitors, we have a lot, jiu-jitsu for everyone. And I think that creating a premium school, right, would be, I think, would be the challenge, and that would allow me to live from jiu-jitsu. So I remember when I shared this idea of opening a school, because I was not to open in France actually, and I met a friend of mine, and he said, "Man, why don't you open in Marseille?" I was like, "Man." So I was just doing the mathematics, and I told him, "Man, if I had to open a jiu-jitsu school in Marseille, it would be at least like 65 or 70 euros. Other academies at that time, there was charging like 30 euros. So it was twice. It was like, man, there is no way people sign up in your academy at this price. No way, impossible. It's too expensive. And also, you cannot force the people to use the Gracie Barra gi. They want to use their own gis. I was like, man, if I want to open and if I decide to open, that's the way it will be. And that's what I did. Man, I didn't care about what other people were charging, because I think that we have really strong assets in Gracie Barra. We have, and when you are black belts, it's like you are a doctor. So somehow you need to put values on what you know, because it's not everyone that can reach the black belt, and that's a fact. So you have to put value on your work, on your knowledge, and you have to put value on the fact that your academy is clean twice or 3 times a day. The class always starts on time, never late. Never cancel one class for 5 years. I never started late, and the showers are always clean. So some people that want to train in a safe environment, clean environments, that like the fact to socialize with other people while training and sharing this jiu-jitsu experience, they are willing to pay, because they are, those people, they wouldn't train in another academy that don't have all this experience to offer them. And it was a bet, because I didn't know if it worked or not. And also I was working as an expat in Angola, so I was living really well. My wife, engineer, also in the oil industry. So deciding to change drastically your standard of living, right? To going back to France for almost earning nothing in the beginning was a really tough one, because it's a decision that involves not only yourself and your desire to live from jiu-jitsu and achieve your dream, but your family, your wife, your daughter, and so on. So, and somehow I remember telling my wife, man, just don't worry, it would work. There is no way that's not working. That's how I told her. But inside myself, I was like, well, it has to work. It has to work. And it was crazy, because I was earning a really nice salary in Angola, but my wage were not in France. So no banks was willing to do a loan. So I asked my mom, even if I had a lot of money in Angola, to do a loan for me. So it also involved a lot of members of my family. That's, fortunately is paid back right now. But I think when you know that it's gonna work when you convince yourself that there is no way you fail. That's how you need to wake up, and that's how I had to wake up every day to make it happen, and to make it happen in a successful way. So now I can live from jiu-jitsu. Fortunately, my wife worked with me, and we have a really strong project to open other academies. And now we have a really strong project, even with Victor, to open 5 academies in Lisbon. So everything is going right, just as planned. The only thing is you never know how long it's going to take, how much effort you will have to provide. But if you only focus on waking up every day and, man, it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work, man, it can only work.
Yeah, I can empathize absolutely, Professor, with your story there, because I've been through exactly the same journey recently, right? Leaving a career and opening and exactly borrowing from family to make this happen in a pandemic, but just believing that it was the right thing to do. I don't get paid from this place. It'd be a long time before I get paid, but I just believe that what we're doing for our community is the right thing. And passionately deep down, we're pulling people in from the community because they need it right now. And same as you knew that. You open it up for other people, and ultimately in the end, then you will benefit, right? And who knows where the journey is going to end? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I don't think it will end. There is no, because it's too positive. It's too, man. It's you have a great heart, you have great people, you have a great experience. There is no way it not work. For sure, the pandemic has shaken a lot of us but it's not only jiu-jitsu. So that's the mindset we need to have is you could think, man, I'm about to give up. Man, if you had a restaurant, maybe you would give up. If you had a pastry store, you would have to give up. So everybody is in the same position right now. And that's a lot of people are getting confused because they feel like they made the wrong choice of opening a restaurant, of a school academy, but everyone is now in the same spot. So just try to be on the wave, right? Because when we are out of this pandemic, man, I believe for sure you are going to have a really successful project, because I can see a lot of people the demand is really high of jiu-jitsu and Gracie Barra, because now especially in the UK, Gracie Barra is really well-known organization, and wherever you open, people will benefit from the experience you are providing them. There is no way it's not working. It's just that right now we are going through a tough phase. I know you guys, it's even tougher than us because we had at least the chance to open with contact classes and so on. Man, just keep focused, because I'm just telling you that if you had another job, you would have the same, the fears and so on. But at least you are living from, something you like, you love. And just for me, the fact that I wake up and I think that I can change people's life, man, this is priceless. I wouldn't I wouldn't go back to another life where I was earning maybe 10 times more, because I was not waking up with the same satisfaction as a human being, right? Like now I know that I focus even less on money, right? And the satisfaction I get from teaching people, changing their life, spreading good energy, sharing good energy. I mean, this is something I could not buy, right? And at least I know that I'm doing something I like, I love, and for me, as I said, it's priceless.
Professor, speaking of if you could go back, if you could go back to before you opened Gracie Barra Marseille and give yourself some advice, is there anything you'd have told yourself?
I would have opened a bigger space.
Everyone says that. Everyone would say that.
Because I remember, I was like, when I opened, when you want to try something, right? It's like when you go to the casino, right? You come with $100 Maybe like, and I cannot put $100 on the one shot. So it was this feeling. I was like, man, inside me, I know that it will work, but how strong will it work? You know, how profitable would it be so I can live from it and make my family come to France so I, can. So I was like, let's try to open, and my school was not like that small. It was 100 in square feet would be like 1,800, almost 2,000, right? But then 3 months later, like the math was full, like because we had 130 students, right? And I was working by my own, on my own, like giving all the class, teaching all the class, almost 35 classes per week. So I had to do everything, like program director, teaching, cleaning, and then
That's those. I know how that feels, Professor.
Yeah. So it would my journey, like my day would be from 9 in the morning until 10, 11 every day. It was like a really tough experience. But I think also my commitment, and helped making it work, So that's my advice. That it's like sometimes we want to change the thing, right? But we don't give the big step. It was a big step for sure, but and I had the chance, like the premises just on the side of my academy, the landlord was renting the space. So I rented the premises on the side. I broke all the walls and I just doubled my academy. So I was lucky. So some people would say this is destiny, luck, or whatever you call it. But I think when you put good energy, the things just appear, right? And I would now, if I open an academy right now, for sure, all the academies that I'm opening will be bigger than that, right? And we just have it is harder here in France to make Gracie Barra bigger because first we are starting from almost 0.0, right? Like it's UK 20 years before. So we have 3 academies, 2 in Paris and 1 in Marseille. So when you think about making such progress as in the UK with now 180 academies, how long does it take to create a new generation of instructors and professors? A long time, right? And that's the seed we planted here, that it takes time to make it grow. But whenever those seeds start to grow, like the development really will blast, right? And it's tough also because we cannot recruit people from outside because people need to speak French. So, but that's, I think, every city, every country, every place in the world has its own challenges. And that's how it's.
For sure. I appreciate you're going to need to go soon, Professor, but I've got about 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
I saw on your Instagram profile, and I'll link that into the description here, and Gracie Barra Marseille as well, that you put martial artists down. And I'm not sure if you agree. I think, just training martial arts doesn't necessarily make you a martial artist. I think it is one of the things you do need to do, but the 2 don't necessarily always. You could just train for just because you want to do, just when you learn a little bit of self-defense. I would say it probably doesn't make you a martial artist. But what does that mean to you? What does being a martial artist mean to you?
Martial art, there's 3 points that you need to, if you go back to the Bushido in Japan, there is one concept that is really strong. It's called the Shin Gitai, right? The Shin is the essence, right? Is the content, right? Then the Gi is like the driver, and the Tai is like the car. So when when you think about it, being a martial artist, there are several things that you need to be committed to respect. First, the art, like the fact you learn one art, doesn't matter if it's karate, judo, whatever. You need to respect the art and be committed to learn every day. You cannot stop learning, because otherwise you're not an artist anymore, right? You just you stop learn and you stop to grow. And there is a second thing is the gi is is the driver, is yourself. How much are you willing to respect yourself, respect your body, right? Are you practicing every day? Are you eating well? Are you working out? Are you respecting your black belts every day? Because it's not only about earning your black belt, you need to honor your black belt, meaning you need to train every day and keep in shape, right? And then there is the thigh, right? Is the mind, right? Are you meditating? Are you taking care of your mind? Are you surrounding yourself with positive people? Are you know what I'm saying? Is because sometimes you can be tough, like a tough artist. There are tough athletes that are really strong, but are they as developed in their mind that they are in technique? Are they world champ of helping other people? Are they able to meditate? Are they able to promote positive attitude? Are they game changer in their community, or are they only focusing on themselves? So I think being a martial artist is all about that. It's not only you going to the academy, because this is something anyone can do, but you keeping this constant learning mindset, you respecting your mind, respecting others, people, mind and integrity, and respecting your body and working out makes you a martial artist. There's a shin, gi, tai, right? And
inspirational.
that's how it is. And there is another thing, that in Japan we also say sami itai. There is the waza, this is the technique, right? The chi or the ki, this is the strength. So it means you working out, and the shin is the spirit. So there are several concepts. If you look back to the Bushido, and you're also in Asian culture, right? About this triad of the martial artists, the technique, the body, and the mindset.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Professor. That was really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So it's been really nice to speak to you. And obviously Victor had pointed us towards you. And I'm kind of curious where eventually this will lead if we just keep asking someone to point us towards somewhere else. So is there anyone in the community that you would like us to go out and has a good story?
I think, we have a lot of wonderful professors in the Gracie Barra, right? But I like the professors that are willing to make Gracie Barra bigger. And there is one name that comes to my mind is Professor Pedro Coelho in Portugal. Professor Pedro has really strong experience of helping Gracie Barra to grow. He's in Portugal right now. He works as a regional collaborator. And I really like Professor Pedro as a human being, because he has really a strong sense of integrity, and also he's really devoted to make Gracie Barra bigger, right? So he gives all his energy to make it happen in Portugal. And I really think that he would have an amazing story to share. He's inside Gracie Barra for many years right now, black belt, second degree. And I think if you guys do an interview with him, you will definitely appreciate what he has to share with you.
Excellent. Well, I'll get your details off of him, his Instagram or something. I'll love to get in touch and see if we can get him on the show. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. No problem. I think he he's always willing to share.
Excellent.
And if he say no, tell me, I will knock his head.
Roger. Well, Professor, you know, if we're allowed to travel this summer out of the UK, I'd love to come visit you in Marseille, and maybe Jim would like to come too. I don't know, maybe make a bit of a trip of it.
When I say my place is your place, I really mean it. It's like I feel, it's like it's not like I'm forced to be nice. It's like I feel entitled to receive all the Gracie Barra members in my city, in my school, even in my place, because a lot of them sometimes they say, hey, I'm coming to Marseille, I'm from the United States, I would like to train. Man, come, if you like to train, just stay to my place. You stay one night, tonight, we train together, I show you the city. And this is how I like to do, because it's just something I like to, you know, to welcome people like that. Because I just remember the feeling when I used to go to LA, you know, staying at people's place, professors' place, and the way I would be welcome. And I think this is my payback. So every time you come, you are more than welcome. You will have a place to stay for sure. You will have a place to train, and you will have a place to share really good energy and vibe.
And likewise to yourself, Professor, as well, and your students, you know, if they're ever over here in Leeds, then they should come and knock on our door. They'd be welcome as well. I appreciate that.
Soon, my friend. We will be soon together, training hard. Just keep training, because here we are training hard.
Roger that.
Do a lot of bar feet. We don't stop here.
Amazing.
Anyway, thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm always pleased. I could speak for hours and hours about Gracie Barra. This is something I drink, I eat, but I was really pleased to meet you guys, to share with you. And anytime you want to organize another event, I will be honored to share with you this moment, right?
That'd be great. I hope we can maybe even do one of these in person one day.
No, for sure.
Excellent.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Professor. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.